Hello Neverwinter. Here is my current single target Warlock build. Before we get into it, just be aware that there are some very major Warlock changes coming up, which is detailed on the Protectors Enclave Discord. So anything I say in this video is subject to probably some pretty major changes in the future, so before you go out and spend a load of AD on stuff, just be aware of that. This build is assuming that Mystic Aura is running and a Flapjack Aura Tutor is also running. And it's a bit of a departure from my last build. I have been testing it out a bit. It is relatively competitive provided you are animation cancelling. I did put a video on how to do that badly out a little while ago, so check out that if you don't know what the mechanics are behind it. This does take a little bit of time to ramp up. We are using the perfect weapons and one of the hoods. That gives combat advantage. But we do have pretty static and stable stats once it ramps up. Obviously the major issue with these ramping up equipment items is that if you're dying a lot, then they are completely useless because all the stacks drop off when you die. So if you're not good at staying alive, this is not a build that you would want to follow. Okay, yeah, so pretty stable stats, pretty static stats. As long as we're still attacking, of course. Okay, so equipment. Actually, we'll go to stats first. So for this one, I've actually gone for Dex instead of Charisma. That's because we only lost about 1%, potentially 2% recharge speed from the Forte and a little bit of crit strike, and we gained about 3% crit severity, which just gives us a high starting point before it starts ramping up. Obviously, the higher the starting point, the more initial damage you've got until everything's fully ramped up. It's intended to just be like a general build. Obviously, if you're doing specific dungeons, you can alter stuff for additional damage. Like if you're in the Underdark, you might go for the Weaver weapons. Wild Space, go for these Moondancer weapons. Probably, yeah, I'd avoid using these Void ones on a DPS probably. The Solarium are probably just slightly better. Once the I don't know actually, they're probably quite close, those two. Obviously you'd go for the Solarium and single target, but choices for you to make. Okay, so this is a Master Layer of the Mad Dragon hat. It's similar to a previous Wild Space hat, which I don't think I have on this one. But anyway, yeah, it takes about 50 seconds to fully ramp up, which is a bit of a pain, so it's not ideal for a short encounter. A lot of the new stuff isn't ideal for a short encounter. If you're going for like a shorter encounter, you'd want one of these ones where you can ramp it up quickly, and then you'd have to do a bit of reworking on everything. Going for the Scintillate Amulet set still. I was playing around with putting the Mythallar back in, but the Mythallar only... The magnitude damage that it does is not scaling with your stats, so it only does something like 7k a pop, and it wasn't ideal basically. One of the key points of this one as well is that recharge speed. It is noticeable if you take this set off. I mean, you wouldn't expect it to be noticeable on a Warlock, but it is noticeable. It's like you just feel that extra second or so that it takes for your powers to come back. We're still using the Demon Web Pit rings, mostly for that accuracy, and then of course you do get the additional base damage when you're closer to the target, which in a single target encounter you generally are on a Warlock. This is an updated version of the Dragon Hunt gear. It's a nice little boost. I was playing around with a build that used this as well, but since Warlock's forte is crit strike, it's a bit redundant having this on there. These arms just help you get your AP back in time. There are some good crit strike gloves around, which again I don't have on this tune, but there are some. There's a single target crit strike variant which drops. The main issue with those ones which are amount of people you're engaged with dependent is that a lot of the mechanics in the dungeon are considered actual opponents. Like in Zemnid, the petrifying circles on the ground are actually targetable, so they are actually considered to be an enemy that you're engaged with. So a lot of those ones that respond to like this when you're engaged with 4 or more opponents, there's a lot more stuff that is considered an opponent than you might realise. Like the ice in Tom is considered an opponent, so you got to be careful with those ones. They can be a bit weird, but these are quite good gloves for just getting your AP back. You can probably rework a bit of things and put those in as well, but whatever. Encounter damage, I did also have a little bit of an experiment with the at will ring, but Killing Flames is our main damaging thing at the minute, so 5% onto the Killing Flames is probably going to do more than 8% onto the Hellish Rebuke, but obviously being on PlayStation I don't actually have a way to test that accurately. If anyone on PC fancies doing a little log of that, that'd be handy. I had a little play around with a Band of Air as well, but it's not really consistent or reliable anymore. And you do notice the item level drop. Who knows, maybe they'll tweak that in the future. Second half of the Scintillate set. Now I went for the perfect weapons here just to get those stats all nice and shiny. You could reasonably switch these in for another weapon set and then just tweak a couple of other bits. I mean, you can afford to drop like 5% crit strike. 85 crit strikes as good as 90 in most situations, and then you can boost up that crit save a little bit as well. It's a bit of a toss-up, really. There is potentially more damage to gain, but this is a nice balance of consistently high stats and just normal damage really. Artifact wise, it's just been stats really, stats and item level from these. Yeah, this is quite a nice set bonus on here. These are the new pants and tops from Master Lair the Mad Dragon. Give you plus 2% accuracy on the set bonus, as well as some nice stats in general. Watch out for these though, there's 3 different sets that drop inside there. You got this set infused recharge here, set infused accuracy. There's another set of the defender, I think. We might not have any of those on this one. No, yeah, but they exist, so they only match up with their own set, so just be aware of that. And then there's 2 items to each set as well. Like this one's a damage one. This one's a healing one. So yeah, just be aware of that. Yeah, I went for the Radiant Slippers here. There are like damage boots available. I haven't been able to get hold of those, unfortunately. But this is a more general build, and I do believe that the damage bonus you get from that boot is massively reduced outside of fire maps. I don't know if we've got some sort of comprehensive list of what's considered a fire map somewhere, but these do the trick. You know, these are good enough. You could switch in something like the combat advantage boots, just for some extra stats, and that would remove the need for having a flapjack or a tutor in the group. Enhancements wise, it's again just whatever you need for your stats. And again, I will generally put awareness into these defensive slots when I'm able to. These have got very expensive recently. It's been quite expensive working out these builds with these equipped in here. Celestial Lightning Flash, just the best stat equipment thing we can have. I was testing the Poison Thorn. I did make up a build where the stats were capped and then the Poison Thorn was in, but it wasn't. It just didn't really. It didn't quite work. I might have another shot at that though. There are enough stats floating around now that we could slot in the Poison Thorn, but some of the other adjustments I've had to make in the companions has meant that I can't put that in with this build and then still get the damage, unfortunately. Just because of the way some of the companion equips are interacting with some of our powers. Okay, so as I did test this through quite a lot. I tried having the all-consuming curse on with the deadly curse, and that was unfortunately doing. It wasn't doing less damage, but it messed up the way that the Warlock actually does damage. So we can get our sparks up relatively quickly. But not as quickly as we were getting with Hellish Rebuke, unfortunately. Not as quickly as with No Pity, No Mercy. As you can see, it's almost double the time to get your sparks back up, which is, I don't know, it's almost halving the amount of damage you can do. Because as anyone playing the Warlock knows, our main source of damage, well, yeah, our main source of damage is killing flames. So that's the entire point of the spark generation. Get those sparks up quickly, reset, killing flames, go, 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 go. Again, they're doing some major reworking on all of these powers, so this will be very out of date when that rework comes through. So don't go spending any crazy amounts of AD updating anything. Yeah, everything is the same as the last build. I think everything's the same here as well, although I did get a few more boons, so I put in some extra recharge speed. These master boons are brilliant. Life lessons procs just constantly. And I don't know if you may or may not be aware of this, but summoning our soul puppet actually triggers both of these two things. So that's just a handy little handy little way that we can boost our recharge speed and get a bit of heals in. Again, that may be subject to change with the updates they're putting through. Generally a good idea to have revive sickness on. I favour awareness over defense in general. And just a bit of extra crit strike. Get those stats looking nice. Right, onto the companions. As I said, this build's assuming there's going to be at least a flapjack or a tutor in there for the extra 5%. I'm still using these from Wild Space, mostly due to me being a bit lazy on the Warlock, getting the campaign done for the new area. And I don't really like spending AD on companion gear that's bound to character. I think that's a little bit ridiculous. Enduring Senses, this is a static 5% increase. Obviously, previous builds have favoured perfect vision for the accuracy, but it's pretty unreliable. So I've now tried to rework it so we can take advantage of this static combat advantage boost, and it is at least a more stable stats, which is always preferable. Companion bonuses, you might be a little bit surprised by this one. I've taken the Neverwinter Night out in favour of the Spine Devil's Influence. This procs quite a lot on most of our encounter powers, multiple times on some of them as well, so it's very much outperforming by a large margin many other things. This is one of the things with the power rework that might change quite dramatically, so before you think about going out and spending a load of AD on one of these Spine Devils, just be aware that its entire function on the Warlock may change very shortly when the next mod comes through. I put the Direwolf in here because, well, we literally don't need the stats, and the Direwolf is more consistent in its damage than the lion. I mean, I do happen to have a wolf in here, so I mean, I could in theory slot the wolf in, switch these weapons around, and then just go for a bit more damage that way. But I don't know, that might be something that I test in the future. But for now, the Vicious Direwolf is doing a good amount of damage. Thank you to whoever was in my comments recently suggesting that I look into that. It's doing a lot. It's doing a great deal of damage. Again, this single target, so that's why I've got the Bateri in there. You could swap that out for the Neverwinter Night if it's going to be one of those trials where there's a lot of ads, like Tiamat, Moondancer, or pretty much every bloody dungeon we've had for a while has had quite a lot of ads in it. But you know, that's something you can adjust on the fly. Obviously, this is just a base build that you know, you can tweak as you want. I've got Mystic Aura equipped here just to show the stats. Normally I'd be running something like Ferocity, probably, whatever that one is. That's just like a little bit of extra damage in general. You might even prefer to use quick action. Which is quite nice, you know. This 3% action point gain I was testing before does not seem to do that much at all. So if you were looking for some AP, I'd probably go for the quick action over that one. There's a few different options though. Sometimes it's nice just to have those auras running. You know, usually it'd be the healer or the tank running the auras, but if you want to be just friendly to the team. So basically, I wasn't entirely sure what to do with these insignia bonuses really. I have gone for 2 warlords. Mostly because I couldn't really think of what else would be useful from a DPS perspective. I do think at some point if they update this Defender's Retort so that it does, the magnitude that it does takes your stats into account, that is going to end up being an incredibly strong DPS thing as well, I think. Especially in AoE if you're taking damage. Enchanter's Hex, we don't have anything that procs this besides Hadar's Grasp and the Arms of Hadir, and a couple of our dailies also proc it. But for now, nothing that we are using is going to proc Enchanter's Hex, so that's why we're not using it. You could realistically go for some self-heals or something, but this is what I've settled on for now. We don't necessarily need the Tactician's Precisions, but it is nice to be able to, if you get caught out of sequence on a rotation, you can pop your daily or your encounters are back. Jobs are good in. Got the Executioner's Covenant in there, just for some extra stats, which we don't technically need. I mean, if someone was running pack tactics, we would be overcapped on combat advantage, for example. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with a bit of overcapping, I suppose. Right, yeah, so that is my current updated build. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you like a lot of videos, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.